One of the most fun parts of Dokkan Battle is some of the art that is tied to a new unit when it comes out, whether it be a reference to a really fun moment or just a really good looking art, but sometimes that's not always the case. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to 5-9 Mobile, and today we're going to be covering some of the worst arts that we have seen throughout the history of Dokkan Battle. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying most of these arts are very old, and we can just kind of see the evolution of how arts have come in the future, just because what you're going to be seeing today is pretty disgusting, but, you know, maybe if you just need to see this, maybe go cleanse yourself and go look at some of the arts on the new LRs in today's game. But I am not alone to cover these today. I am joined by the man of many gotchas, Gale Riot. How are you doing today, Gale?
Yeah, I'm excited to get into this one. Like you said, Dokkan's come a very, very long way, you know, and I think seeing some of the arts today compared to the arts of old, it's a massive leap, and I'm very excited to go back in time as well and look at some of the old arts and see where we were at one point.
Yeah, just kind of looking through these. What's funny about some of these arts that you sent me is that you can't see the prism background, right? Because they're not URs or whatever. And you know, that's still like the biggest complaint to this day is that, you know, they do these units with like a background and they still keep the prisms in there. So
yeah, I still don't get that whole point of adding the diamond backgrounds. It's something that I feel like it's a weird concept that they've added into the game, and the thing is, there is background to these arts, but for some reason we still never see them because they're so adamant on adding these prism backgrounds, right?
Maybe it's because it's in the files already and they don't want to take it out. But getting rid of the prism background is not going to save these arts. Just a PSA. So let's go ahead and get into our list. We're gonna open up with the Int SSR of King Vegeta. Now this is the Super Strike King Vegeta, if I'm not mistaken, and he awakens from an SR into an SSR.
Yep, that's the one. And I mean, to be fair, I don't know if there's any other King Vegetas in the game, to be quite honest. I only know of the Super Strike one. I mean, sorry, Toon Rami, but I highly doubt we're gonna be getting a Dokkan Fest King Vegeta anytime soon, at least. I mean, considering we have had Pan and stuff, there is a chance, but for now, I'm on the side of it's probably not happening. But yeah, this art it just looks a little bit weird. It looks like they've just, you know, photoshopped something from the anime, kind of refined it a little bit, and then just put it into the game. There's no real taste to it. It just looks a little bit odd and doesn't look like the Dokkan style that we've known for a very long time.
I think what's bothering me most as I look at this up close, I don't know if you're looking at it as you're talking about it, but if you look at kind of like the main like cone of his hair, the way it breaks, like that just looks so weird, right?
Yeah, I can see what you mean. It looks a little bit like it's like angled diagonally.
And even though his head isn't diagonal, like it's just like they just like missed a part or something. So this just is like, obviously this is old, so like I said, we're giving a lot of these units some slack, but these are just, the art is just so bad on this. It looks like should be like a blast in his hand or something, but there isn't. It's not a good looking art, but hey, at least he awakens. But you know, Toon Rami,
I will say one more thing to note as well is that the footrest looks a bit out of place, considering the background is just it's just a normal like background. Basically, there's no like environment around it or anything. There's just one rock at the bottom. There's
also no depth to the way he's standing, and the rock is like floating, so he's just like standing on a floating rock.
Yep.
Maybe a little nitpicky, but yeah. Hopefully, if Toon Rami's dreams ever come true and we get a Dokkan Fest King Vegeta, then maybe the art will look a little better, hopefully.
Just a teeny tiny bit.
But enough talking about King Vegeta. Let's move on to another Int SSR, and this one is Int Super Saiyan Trunks. Now, this is one of those arts that, like, I just don't know. It doesn't look like it's from Dokkan. Like, he's got, like, such a small, like, you know, torso, no neck, and the hair color just looks off. The shading looks off. Like, it's the blast and stuff look like it's from Dokkan, but just, like, that character, like, you just don't think that's a Dokkan art when you look at it.
Yeah, I think that's the main point here when it comes to this Int SSJ Trunks. It looks different, but the problem is it doesn't look good different as well. The proportions look off. He looks very small for some reason. The design and I don't know, the style of it is very different as well, and it's not a good different as well at that point. So that I think the big problem here is that it's fine if it's different. I don't really mind the fact that at this point in time when Dokkan was doing these arts, they were different. It's just that they don't look right as well at the same time, which is a big problem.
Yeah, definitely would have to say I agree. Sometimes different isn't always better. Like, maybe it was an experimental thing and they just like never went back to it, but you know, it is what it is, right?
Yep.
Let's go ahead and transition into our next art. And now we are going over to the AGL portion of things. And this one comes in with AGL Kaioken Goku. This is the SSR version, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, it's the SSR version. It's not the worst looking thing out there. It's just very much there, though. There's no real oomph to it. And I know which scene this Kaioken Goku is from. If I'm not mistaken, it's the one where he's underwater, if I'm not mistaken, when he's going up against Frieza. I could be wrong, though. But I'm pretty sure it's from that moment. And it's a good moment they've taken it from, and the initial design is nice. But I don't know, there's something off about it. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking up right now to see where usually, you know how they have reference material for this stuff?
Yep. Origin of art, it's on the wiki.
Actually, I do not see an origin of art here.
Really? Weird. Okay.
No,
that's
so, odd. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just like the angle, like he just doesn't have a neck, and it looks like his arm's like really short, and just kind of the angle, the face looks goofy, the hair looks way too exaggerated for the Kaioken form. There's just so much going on here, and it really just is like a whole bunch of gibberish. Like, I don't really know what's like, it just looks awkward. Yeah, not the best art, right? But let's go ahead and move on to the next version of Goku, and this one is the AGL SSR, one of the OG SSRs from the beginning of the game. This one is a Super Saiyan Goku. Now, this one is probably like the best of the worst, I'd have to say. This one is kind of respectable. He's doing a Kamehameha, and his face is really what kind of throws me off, but everything else about it looks fine. Maybe you guess if you want to nitpick, he looks like he has kind of a thick foot. Look how thick his boot is, you know?
Foot. Yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. No, I think the biggest thing here as well is that it's kind of similar to the SJ Trunks, and we'll talk about it in another unit coming up as well, is that his art style is, again, it's one of those things where it's different. It's not like, the common art style we see in Dokkan nowadays, the more anime-esque, the more normal Dragon Ball style, right? This is one of those arts where I think at this point Dokkan was still trying to figure out its, unique selling point, and maybe this different art style is what it was going for. But I think that was one of the big issues for me when the game launched. Was I wasn't the biggest fan of these art styles at all, to be quite honest. Not really the biggest fan of these arts, but I have to agree with you. It's the best of the worst of the lot, to be quite honest. So, yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. There is some issues and oddities, like you mentioned, the thick foot, but otherwise, yeah. Yeah,
so let's go ahead and look at the counterpart to this Goku, and that is the Tech SSR for Super Saiyan Vegeta. Now, this is one of these guys you still pull on banners to this day, and it's always just traumatizing because it's just synonymous with an awful multi. It's like, yeah, there's your 50 stones, buddy. Have fun. But if you're looking at this one, again, it's the same thing. Like, look at how wide his feet, like his legs and feet are. Like, if that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
no, I agree. It's a little bit odd there, and yeah, again, what I said earlier for the Goku applies here as well with the weird art and stuff like that.
Yeah, not too much to talk about here, but he just has like a funky looking face. His legs are just huge for some reason. It's just not pretty. So we talked about the father. Let's go ahead and talk about the son. Now, this one is physical Xeno Trunks from the Dragon Ball Xenoverse collab, I guess, that they did way back in the day. And now this one is just funky looking. Like, the body looks fine. His legs aren't huge like Vegeta's, but that face is just like one that I'd close my eyes and see and just have to wake up, you know? Like, just look how he's looking at you.
Yeah, the physical Xeno Trunks, I mean, this was part of the whole, I mean, you can see, if you're seeing the art on screen right now, you can see the Dragon Ball Xenoverse logo on the bottom right. This is one of those units when they were starting to do some stuff with Xenoverse and stuff like that. I'm not the, I'm not the biggest hater of this card in terms of its art style. Like, I love, Trunks whenever he does the Heat Dome attack. I'm always a big fan of that. But there is something a little bit odd about this Trunks where it's just, he's trying to evoke this rage emotion, but it doesn't come out. I'm not gonna lie, there is no rage at all there. So it's a little bit odd. I think they could have handled the card art and art style a little bit better when it came to this Trunks. Maybe something a little bit different when it comes to the aura, the expression, the angle. I don't know. There's something a little bit off about it.
I think you're the 5'9" animanga guy. Does this remind you of the Boruto crying scene at all?
Sort of. I can see where you're coming from in regards to that. I do see a little bit of that.
Yeah, you're supposed to be conveying emotion, but it just makes you laugh.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so enough with that funky business. Let's go ahead and transition to another kind of what if unit, or not even what if unit, but just a crossover unit. And this is a Super Saiyan Bardock, the STR one that Dokkan Awakens into Super Saiyan 2 Bardock. This art is just very funky looking. Like he looks like he has like no face. His face is just a mouth. He doesn't have thick feet like the other guys do. His right one is kind of big, but it's not anything to really like nitpick. Just not a great looking art. It's not you're supposed to be conveying like the anger in it, but I just don't really see it. It just looks like he's just a wide open mouth.
I can see where you're coming from. I feel like the head is the big issue here, from more so than anything else. I think the rest of the art kind of nice in a way, but it's just the face and the head that's a big problem here. If anything, it kind of reminds me of a little bit of a Goten sort of, but just giving him the Bardock scar a little bit and more so angular eyebrows to convey the rage. But yeah, it's not the greatest. I think the head is just a little bit too short for Bardock more so than anything else.
There's probably a good chance they just took a Goten art and altered it. I think because Dokkan has never been a stranger to cutting corners. Like, that we all know the infamous Gohan Scream asset that they can't help but use in Kamehameha units. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like S tier Super Vegeta has it, Gogeta has it, Goku has it.
I know what you're talking about.
They're no stranger to reusing assets, but let's go ahead and transition into our next unit. Now we are reaching the end of our list here, but we cannot finish this list without talking about the SR Physical Ginyu and Jace from the Baba Shop. Now, I don't really know what's going on here. Like, I guess it doesn't look terrible, but just Ginyu Goku's face is just something. What do you think, Gail?
Yeah, I think also, not gonna lie, that Jace is basically photoshopped in the back. Let's be real, he's just there. Yeah. I mean, it's not the greatest art, and I think the biggest issue for a lot of these card arts as well, right, is their backgrounds. I feel like that's one thing Dokkan I feel has improved drastically is their background effects and stuff, right? I think a lot of these old units, especially these SRs, they suffer from this. And if we were to go into the rares and SRs, we'd go into a whole nother pickle, because I feel like there are some really bad ones out there. But if you're looking at some of the more iconic ones, some of the more the characters that are super iconic, like this Goku Ginyu character, and if you go back in time, the Super Saiyan Goku, Trunks and stuff, there needs to be a bit of care and love when it comes to these units, and it feels like they weren't given it. They're just plastered together basically. And like you said, the Goku Ginyu face is a little bit odd. Just a little bit of oddities in and around this card, and that's what causes this card to be one of the it's not a horrible card art, but it's just a bad card art, as what I would say.
I say you bring up a really good point where it's like, it's something you don't think about, but making a unit with love. And you think about physical Raditz, and that's just a unit that wasn't made with love. And you think about a unit like AGL Ginyu, they put a little bit more care into that one. But let's go ahead and close that one out with, in my opinion, the worst of this list. They just decided to take the unit, put the asset in, and then scale it down like 3 times. Like, he barely even fills the frame here on this art. This is SR Tech Majin Buu Good. If you go ahead and look at this, I don't know what's going on here. Like, there's just so much free space. This just reminds me of like a bad thumbnail, or like the guy didn't scale up a render or something, or they just kind of threw it in, and he literally is like half of the screen, and it's not even like, he doesn't take up the space. The pose is weird. Like, Majin Buu is not supposed to be small. He's big. He's got like funky looking hands, funky looking feet. He's doing a candy beam to a whole lot of nothing. He's got a really tiny head. I just don't know what they were doing with this one.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one. I think this is an okay card art considering it's free to play SR, because I think that's one thing to note as well, as I feel like Dokkan definitely cuts a lot of corners when it comes to some of these free to play cards.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Metal Cooler types before their Dokkan Awakening. I mean, they all were pretty much exactly the same, right? Obviously, post their Dokkan Awakening, they decided to give them different card arts, but their super attacks remain the same. So there's still that. But I feel like when it comes to these free-to-play units, you can obviously see the difference in quality between a free-to-play unit versus a summonable unit, right? And I think it's another case here where back in those days when, Dokkan events used to have these free-to-play cards, they would not be the best of card arts, right? Yeah, and as you said, there's a lot of free space here. It's not the best looking card art at all, to be honest. Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great look at all. And I think, like I said earlier on, when it came to the Goku Ginyu, the backgrounds matter a lot, and this is another example of where the background is definitely missing in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think you said it really well. You know, I knew that asking you to do this video would have been a good call because you're very good with the specifics. I'm just kind of bare bones. Like, he looks small and I don't like him, but you know, you really are paying attention to the details. I don't know though. I kind of like the, like, it looks like it was really lazy. Honestly, it looks like they took like Legends effects and threw it in the back and put like a pink like little hue over it. But you know, I can kind of appreciate like the gold, like I don't even know what, like the foil, if you want to call it that. Kind of make it look like a car. Yeah, I kind of can appreciate the way that they did that, but I cannot stand how small this guy is on the card. Like, why is he just like so zoomed out? You know, that's I don't know. But that was our list for worst arts within Dokkan Battle. Again, just you have to remember that these guys are old and we're just nitpicking and giving it a hard time. But you know, we can clearly see that the evolution of Dokkan is taken in terms of art, in terms of animations, in terms of just the overall quality of the game. A lot of this stuff was back in 2015, and we are in late 2022 now, so. We're going to go ahead and give them a bit of a pass, but more of just kind of a fun video just to make fun, say, haha, look how bad these arts are. But that's all we got for you in today's video. Don't forget to leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the 5ix9ine Mobile channel so you don't miss out on any future lists that we do. Have a great day, everybody. We're signing out.
Bye-bye.